this morning singing what? God is so good, yes. I woke up this morning singing, God is so good. Sing big now. I woke up this morning singing, yes. God is so good. Tell me more. My God is so good to me. I feel God down in my soul, and God is so good. I feel God down in my soul. God is so good. Sing it, Travis. I feel God down in my soul. God is so good. Tell me all you got. My God is so good to me. You like it? We're gonna do some more. And when I have a triumph, I sing, God is so good. Even when it's not, when I have a little bit of trouble, I sing, God is so good. When I have a triumph, I sing, God is so good. Tell me, everybody, my God is so good to me. I gotta try and think of what I want to sing. I know exactly. Ready? Aren't we all so glad to be here? 'Cause God is so good. Tell me, aren't we all so glad to be here? God is so good. Tell me, aren't we all so glad to be here? God is so good, yes. My God is so good to me. Tell me that line again. I say, my God is so good to me. Sing it right out to me so I can hear you. My God is so good to me. You did it. You're awesome. Give yourselves a hand. Yay.
Please join me in prayer. I'm very grateful to be able to come together with this community to celebrate our oneness in that perfect life that is God, to celebrate living, the art of living. And because what we know is that life is for living. And that great divine, that Spirit of God within, is what allows us to live at that fullest expression that we were created here to model for everyone. I give thanks for everyone who's come together to make this service possible, and for everyone that has come here to celebrate this one life that we shared together, knowing that it is all perfect in every way. It is all good. I know that everyone in this space is perfect, whole, and complete by divine design, and I'm grateful for their presence. I'm grateful for everyone within the sound of this voice, for everyone on planet Earth, for everything that takes place, knowing that that one perfect life runs through all of it. I release these words into divine law where they're already done in the universal mind. I let this go, I let it be. And together we affirm, and so it is. Well, I've got a few words that hopefully inspire. Our first words are from David P. Gardner. We learn simply by exposure to living. Much that passes for education is not education at all, but ritual. The fact is, we're being educated when we know it least. Our second set are from David Lloyd George. A lot of David going on here, huh? David Lloyd George says, don't be afraid to take a big step if one is indicated. You can't cross a chasm in 2 small steps. Then, of course, we have the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes, our founder. He says, today is new and I am newly awakened in it. I believe with dauntless faith that my good in full measure comes from God today.
Welcome, welcome. Hello, New Dawn. It's a new day at New Dawn. What a joy it is to be with you. It's been a couple of weeks for me, and it's good to see you. Thank you for coming back. It's been a great couple of weeks. I hope it has been for you as well. I did have a little run-in with food poisoning that I wouldn't wish on anybody, but yeah, I'm back among the living and not a darn thing to complain about. So thank you for your prayers and continuing good energy. And Karen and I have a mutual beloved friend with us today, Kathy Nunmaker. Kathy is also a religious science practitioner and an extraordinary prayer warrior in her own right. And we're both humbled and honored to call her a dear friend. So thank you for taking the time to be with us. So here we are. Oh my gosh, 10/5, the first Sunday in October, 9 months into the year, enough time to have a baby. How are those New Year's resolutions going? Oh my goodness. Yeah, so with all of that, please join me, my friends. Just take a deep breath in. And that exhale. Doesn't that feel good? That itself is life reminding us of itself. So today we are starting a new series, a new month, a new book, a new series. Woohoo! We're looking at The Art of Life. It is a brilliant work by Ernest Holmes. Honestly, I believe it's one of his lesser known and lesser celebrated works. And Russell and I put our heads together, and we both love our founder and love this teaching. And we wanted to create something for this month because those of you who read and follow Science of Mind magazine might be aware that this month honors the 98th anniversary of Science of Mind magazine. So Russell and I wanted to do something to pay homage both to our founder and to the magazine. So it is The Art of Life. And so our talk today is The Art of Living, or life is for living. Not for waiting, not for worrying, not for sitting on the sidelines of the Broncos game or any sport of your choice, but it is for living fully, boldly, joyfully. So I'm reminded of some older fellows, and you know, older is anybody 20 years older than I am. So these two older fellows were having a conversation, and one of the guys says, one day I'm going to travel the world, and I'm going to write my book, and like the song says, I'm going to dance like nobody's watching. And his buddy says, when is one day? And the man said, when the time is right. Yeah, years passed, and that one day never came. And when it came time for his physical transition, he transitioned with his dance still in him. So, what we know from our beloved friends in theater and in choir, and you've heard it before, this isn't a dress rehearsal. You get to show up. You get to wear your favorite clothes. You get to pull out the good china, if anybody has china anymore. You get to use the special towels in the bathroom because you're special, yeah? You get to live, you get to enjoy, you get to engage right now. One of my favorite things in this book, The Art of Life, Holmes writes, Life is not something to be endured. It is to be lived in joy, in fullness, and without limit. So he's clear, life is not about scrapping by or postponing or waiting until the conditions are perfect, until the weather gets colder or the weather gets warmer, or until I make more money, or until I have my 2 weeks of vacation this year. Don't wait, yeah? As we can learn from our friends at Nike, just do it. If we all waited until it, whatever it is perfect, nothing would ever happen. Step into your joy now. Take that deep breath now. Have that special meal with friends now. That is what we get to encourage. That is what we get to shift around. So it's embracing the here and the now. Because what do we know? All we have is right now. So if I'm not having a good time, whose responsibility is that? Right? So let us step into our own beauty, our own mastery, our own perfection, our own passion. So the first piece of that then today is saying yes to life. Life means saying yes to showing up for yourself. You know, you get to say yes to invitations. You also get to say no. I'll have more to say on that in a minute. But life is saying yes to you. Life is saying yes to the cosmic question that the universe is asking you. Are you ready? Are you willing? Are you able? Are you prepared? Well, yes, 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 and hell yes. And I may be scared. I may not be as prepared as I would like, but absolutely. God's not going to ask us to step into anything that is going to be harmful or hurtful. So the answer, I would suggest, is an emphatic yes. It doesn't mean every day is sunshine and rainbows. We know that. We've all been on the planet for longer than a minute. It means that we meet life with openness and curiosity and with faith. When we say yes, we align ourselves to the creative impulse of spirit, which is always seeking to express more of itself through us. So every yes is a doorway or a path to possibility, even when it leads to challenge. And that challenge is often the very path of our growth. I choose to call that a spiritual victory. When I didn't necessarily enjoy the path, but when I get to the other side and I can look back and say, oh yeah, you know, part of the journey may have sucked. Sorry, it's not very ministerial language. Part of the journey may have not been very fun or very friendly. And when I got to the other side of it, I get more context. I get the aha that goes along with that. So saying yes keeps us from shrinking back in fear and reminds us that we are co-creators with the infinite. Yeah, as I've shared with you a number of times, I'm so humbled and honored to be here with you, and you don't need me. You can do your work. You have a direct connection to the divine. You can connect with that higher power, whatever he or she or they or them or it may look like. You are connected, my friends, whether you choose to recognize it in consciousness or not. There's no way that you can be disconnected. That is part of our belief system in oneness. So when you are ready, when your human self is ready to step into whatever you want to step into, the universe, spirit, God, Mother Earth, Dr. Seuss, whomever is always there to support you in that effort. Now, the other piece of what I shared with you, in addition to saying yes to life, is saying no to that which doesn't serve you. You've heard me say it before. How will my yeses mean anything if I can't say no? So when I choose to say no, and no is a complete sentence, doesn't have to be no because, or I don't have to add anything on unless I choose to from a place of kindness and compassion. No is a complete sentence. How will my yeses mean anything if I can't say no? That is standing in your power. That is standing in your goodness and in your glory. And you've heard me say this before as well. Not that it's a talk of reruns, but I had some things that I wanted to emphasize, and I have some points that I love to make. Mother, now Sister Teresa, was adamant, when somebody said, well, if we are having a march against abortion, would you join us? Would you lead that, knowing that you are, staunch in your beliefs in line with those of the Catholic Church? And she said, no, I will not join you in that anti-abortion march. Tell me what you are for, not what you are against. If you make that a pro-life march, I will lead your parade. I will march with you in support of all life on the planet, right? Can you feel the difference in that? Can you feel the difference in the negativity and the anti-this and the anti-that? Another one of my common threads that you may have noticed is my time in the musical group Up With People. Up With People was started in the mid-'60s, and one of the reasons it was such a powerful force on the planet for so long is because it was a positive protest. Anybody remember, or maybe some of you have read about, life in the 60s and the protests, right? Down with anybody over 40, down with establishment, down with government, down with fill in the blank. And then this group of folks came along and they said, what if we celebrated that which we love? Instead of down with this and down with that, what if we said up with people? And 50 years later, they remain a significant force in the world because of the vibrational energy. Words are important. Language is important. And so saying yes to life also includes saying no when it supports you. As I've shared before, Michael Bernard Beckwith reminds us, you are a once-in-a-lifetime cosmic event. Don't play small with your own magnificence. As I often like to remind people, if I believe, and I do, that the one power, the one presence that I choose to call God continues to live in me, dwell in me, and express as me, am I showing God a good time? Are you showing God a good time? Right? Living means showing up for all of our own magnificence. It's not reckless abandon. It's conscious participation in the great dance of creation. The other thing that I want to share with you, and in all authenticity and clarity, presence over perfection. And it is still a big part of my journey. Too often we delay living until everything is just right. The perfect job, the perfect partner, perfect health, perfect bank account. And Holmes tells us the universe is infinite and abundant, but it can only give us what we are willing to take. So living is not about waiting for perfection. It's not about having all the I's dotted and all the T's crossed. It's about being present in the imperfect moments, claiming joy where we stand, and stepping into the flow of abundance right now. Excuse me. If we wait until the conditions are flawless, we'll miss the miracle of the moment that's already unfolding. Spirit doesn't require perfection to show up. It does require our attention and our willingness. Joy is found in the cracks and crevices of ordinary days when we realize the sacred has always been with us all the time. Now, please hear me. Planning is good. Planning is very good. I'm a teacher, after all. I like a good lesson plan. And life won't wait until the spreadsheet balances. Life won't wait until the stars align perfectly with what I want to teach. Sometimes the best plan is to laugh, order dessert, dance in the kitchen, or say, I love you one more time before the phone call ends. So again, in my Up With People life, in my Up With People experience, I saw a performing crew in 1976 at Mackey Auditorium in Boulder, and it just struck me. I loved the young people, I loved the energy, I loved the dance, I loved the internationalism, I loved the costumes. Everything spoke to me. And then at the end of the performance, they said, well, you know, to get into Up With People, yes, we use the show as a vehicle to enable us to travel around the world, but to get into the group, it's a personal interview. We're more interested in who you are as a person, because it takes a unique kind of individual to live with a different host family every 2 or 3 nights over the course of a year on 3 continents and traveling in 8 countries. So it was a personal interview. And I'm turning to my mom, and I'm afraid I wasn't very polite at the time. I said, I'm going to interview. And she's like, honey, you go for it. So I interviewed after that show in 1976, and thought I did reasonably well, who knows, right, by 2 cast members, because that's part of the learning experience, is that as a cast member, you interview prospective cast members. So at the end of my year, I had done 100 interviews when I was stepping out into the work world on the other side of the interview desk. Anyway, so I interviewed. About a month later, I got this letter. And it basically said, you know, thank you for interviewing. We think you're awesome, and you're a little too young. You know, give it a year and contact us next year. I was crushed. That was my whole post-secondary plan, was to travel around the world and sing and dance. And so I was talking to my mom about it. I was talking to some other people, and they said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, what can I do? They rejected me. They already said that they don't want me. Wah, 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 wah. And my mom said, or? I was like, or what? She said, of course, long before the internet, she said, what if you called? What if you called and talked to somebody? What if you wrote a letter? What if, I don't know, what if you drove down to Tucson and stood on the front door of the office and asked to talk to somebody? She told me that I had options. They had options whether to accept me or ask me to reapply or do not accept me. I had options what I was going to do with that information. And so I wrote another letter. I got out my little Smith Corona typewriter, always a writer at heart. And, you know, it was something like, I recognize the competition to be in the group is intense. My desire to be in the group is equally as intense, blah, 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 blah. 2 weeks later, I got an acceptance packet. And I know, thank you, Mom, right? So, you know, my whole point is show up for yourself. Advocate for yourself. Write that letter for yourself. When you get a no, it's not necessarily a no. Maybe it's a not right now, which is what mine was. So presence over perfection. And as a 17-year-old traveling around the world, I had a whole lot less than perfect moments. And it's an experience that I wouldn't trade for the world. The third thing that I want to share with you, again, one of the things that I so appreciate about New Dawn, and as the elders and the wisdom keepers of this community, you continue to do so well. It's creating community and connection. We are at heart social beings. Yes, many of us enjoy alone time. Yes, many of us enjoy silence. And this is who we are. This is what we love. The coming together, the conversation, the listening, the sharing, the advocating. Life is for living together. Ernest Holmes wrote, we're all immersed in that one life which flows through us and through all. It means that we don't just live for ourselves. We live in relationship, we live in community, we live in service. When we lift each other up, when we laugh together, when we share the burdens, when we multiply the joys, that is a life truly lived. So I have one more story that I want to share with you. I think I've touched on it a little bit, but bear with me through the juxtaposition. I think it's very powerful, and it continues to be in my consciousness. As I share with you, I'm honored to be able to do many celebrations of life, many funerals and memorials and weddings. And this week, I did a funeral this morning. I've got another one at Mile High, co-celebrating with Dr. Patty on Friday. I've got a wedding in Aspen on Saturday. So it's the rituals of life that I just adore, that I'm passionate about. So I stepped into service with this family to offer a memorial for their family member a couple of weeks ago. And I'm having a conversation with the grandson, who is also the executor. And we start talking right away. And he said, "Dr. David, may I be frank with you?" And I said, "Of course, I wouldn't have it any other way." He said, "We did not like my grandmother. We did not love my grandmother. She was a diagnosed sociopath. She was loved by her community. She showed up in her spiritual community. They adored her, and she adored them. And in our family, she was horrible. She was angry. She was abusive. And he was just going on and on and on and on." And I said, "Can I rethink that thing about authenticity?" No, but so he was sharing all of this information with me. And so my question was, then why are we having this service? Why are you choosing to do this? He said, "Because we are people of faith. And we choose to lean into our faith." And he said, "And if we're going to have any kind of connection at this service, I need you to hear me. We don't want, we will not appreciate saccharin. We will not appreciate platitudes." He said, "I don't know how you thread that needle, but there's a reason we found you, and we would like to have you do that for us." I said, "Okay." So I was working with the funeral director, and the funeral director, pretty standard, she said, "Well, we're gonna do the service in the chapel at 10, and then we're going to drive to the graveside, and then we'll do a short something at the graveside, and then we'll be complete with the service." And I'm talking with his grandson, and he said, "No, no, and no." I was like, "Okay, so tell me what you think. How do you see this out picturing?" He said, "We will meet in the parking lot. There are only going to be 6 or 8 of us. 2 of my mom's kids aren't coming. My mom and my uncle aren't coming." He said, "There'll be 6 or 8 of us. We'll meet in the parking lot. We'll go to the graveside. You do your thing. None of us is going to talk 10, maybe 15 minutes, and we are done. And I'll write you as big a check as you want." I thought, okay, I'm grateful for the clarity. Thank you, right? So I had this conversation with the funeral director after she had met with the family. She said, "David, thank you, and this is new information. You're okay if I touch base with the family, right?" And I said, "Of course, please do. Maybe I misheard something." So she has a conversation. She affirms everything that we heard. We did that. And this guy's email address is Chrome Dome. He said, "Oh, I've been bald since I'm in high school. So when you see us standing in the parking lot, look for my Chrome Dome." And I'm like, that really helped. I'm like, that's my guy. So I went over, I introduced myself. Some of them decided to walk to the graveside. Some of them decided to drive to the graveside. And there were 8 people. And so I did my thing, and I leaned into Scripture. And I said, hers was not a perfect life, as none of our lives are perfect lives. And, she believed in a forgiving God. And so I just really leaned into Scripture. And I also said something about, and we needn't pretend now, we needn't sugarcoat anything that was broken in life. And 6 of the family members just turned and looked at me like, "You get us." And we were done in 15 minutes, and I was standing there, and 3 of them came up and said, "Thank you." They said, "We didn't know how we were going to do this. We want to love, we want to be forgiving, we want to do all the things that the Bible invites us into, and we're not there yet. And hopefully we can get there." And my point in sharing all of that is, Sometimes it takes stark, maybe severe contrast to invite us into what is ours to do as a family, as a community, what that looks like and feels like, right? So to the earlier point, this expression of the divine helped her family decide their no, helped them decide what their line in the sand was, where they were going to show up and where they were not going to show up, right? So sometimes it takes the cosmic no to help us understand, to be able to continue to grow and move forward. So again, that is what we are about here. We are about that community, and we are about that connection. What we know is that living in isolation keeps us small. Living in community helps us expand our hearts and our horizons. Each smile we share, each hand we hold, each door we open, each kindness we offer one another is spirit in action. That is namaste in action. That is the divinity in me, recognizing the divinity in you. Connection reminds us that we belong to something larger than ourselves, the great web of life where our love makes a difference. To that earlier point, when I'm in that place of love, I'm raising my vibration. I'm helping to raise the vibration of everyone on the planet. As Dr. Roger Teal puts it, life is for loving, and love is the best way to live. So what does that look for us? What does that look like for us here at New Dawn? We don't just talk about living fully, we practice it. We say yes to opportunities to growth and service, whether it's stepping into leadership, volunteering at events, or simply being present for someone in need. We open ourselves to Spirit's invitation. We cultivate a presence in our gatherings. Every Sunday, every class, every circle, every workshop is a chance to pause, to breathe, and to meet life right now. And we nurture community connection through our small groups, through our potlucks, through our fundraisers, through our workshops, through our shared celebrations. We remind each other that no one need walk alone. We are here to live and love together. And my practical invitation, my friends, for you this week, your mission, should you choose to accept it, say yes to something that scares you just a little. Step away from waiting and live today. Make a phone call. Write a poem. Send the text. Cut your next video. Choose presence over perfection, because life isn't happening someday. It's happening now. The poet Mary Oliver asks, "Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?" What if our answer simply is, I plan to live it? Please join me in prayer. If our practitioners would stand and join me in consciousness. There is one life, one power, one infinite love. It is the life of God, and it is my life now. I know that life is for living, fully, joyfully, abundantly. I release any hesitation, delay, or fear, and I step boldly into the radiant gift of today. I claim joy for myself, for everyone in this community, and for all beings everywhere. I know that each of us is guided, sustained, and uplifted by Spirit, and that together we create a world that works for all. And so as we go out into this day, I I know that we choose to look at those self-imposed limitations. I know that we choose to expand our horizons. I know that we are all here to learn, grow, and expand. And that's exactly what we consciously embrace in this week and beyond. I claim that life is good. I claim that it is very good, that it is blessed, and that this moment is inspired and inspiring. I am in such deep gratitude for this community, for the leadership, for each and every being who's ever crossed the threshold, and for those who have still to find their way to us. I simply say yes on their behalf. I recognize the magnificence of every sentient being. I say thank you, Spirit. I release, I let go, I allow it to be. And together we acclaim this by saying, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are.
Celebrate, celebrate, we're gonna celebrate. Standing on the top of a mountain, we're here to celebrate, celebrate, 'cause we made it to the top of this mountain. Let's celebrate, celebrate.